D100 dungeon was mentioned in some comments on some other videos of mine, and at the time it was mentioned I hadn't played it yet, and I'm now in the middle of playing it, and I want to just do a brief video highlighting some of the points about this solo dungeon crawl that is a free printout file that you can get on Board Game Geek. We're looking here at my character sheet for Thor Thronesucker, and he has completed 2 quests and is going to be abandoning the dungeon training that he has been religiously doing thus far to go in search of a random quest now that he's gotten some equipment and some loot. There are 3 characteristics for each character that you assign as a value of 50, 40, and 30. I will say that after you do this, you are then rolling randomly, as the name of this game suggests. There's a lot of D100 tables, and you roll randomly to get some equipment. What I ended up with for the first quest, unfortunately, was my only weapon required my strength value, which I had pre-assigned as the lowest value. So the first quest was a bit of a slog to attain the goals of that quest, which involved turning in for sale, ultimately, 3 parts of monsters that I had slain. And unfortunately, because I was equipped with a weapon that I really wasn't able to handle so well, it took me a lot longer than one might expect. And I traveled through all of these various rooms to finally get the rat skull, the spider heart, and the rat lung to complete the quest. The rooms that you encounter are rolled up again on a D100 table, and you are given the picture of the room that you are to draw, and you're also given the room in a various color. The colors have to do with whether you encounter encounters, whether the room is just empty, or whether the room has some geographic or geomorphic features that you then roll on. In this case, for example, there was a spiral staircase that was discovered, and as a result, you're rolling on different tables based on the type of room to see what's in there. You travel through, and as you travel, you are marking off time that is passing, and as certain amounts of time passes, you consume things like oil, for example, or potentially encounter a wandering monster. When you do have combat and slay certain monsters in the dungeon, you can, of course, see if you can search the room thereafter and attain anything that might be worth something at the end of your quest to sell. And I think this aspect of the game is where it really shines, and I'll show you that a little bit more in detail. As you go through as well, there is a leveling up system so that you are encountering larger monsters the more you travel through quests, and there is a mechanism within the rules that keeps the monster values that you encounter initially fairly low so that you can attain the goals of the quest. At the end of the quests, and it's pretty basic in terms of what you do in each turn, moving, creating the map, looking around, having combat, searching, leaving, going somewhere else. There are doors that you can find that you will determine whether they are trapped or not trapped, and or open, what you can do with them. This part is fairly standard. What I think becomes interesting is between quests, you have things that you can do to sell your equipment, to level up certain aspects, to refresh yourself, to repair items, and this becomes more where you have some choices to make in terms of what you're going to do. Here we are looking at my quest number 2 sheet, where you can see things that I had picked up along the way that I put in my backpack, extra weapons that I got, a throwing spear, a military fork, some leather arm guards, and some other things, as well as various items that I found. I got a big bag of gold at one point, which is great because I'm going to be able to spend this money later on. And ultimately, I was able to complete my goal of looting 3 weapons out of the dungeon because I got at the very last room. This was also a little bit of a slog in the sense that here's this second dungeon, I encountered a bunch of empty rooms. The encounters that I had early on were not those that were giving me the potential to find the weapons that I needed, but that's what happens when you're doing some random generation here. And actually, the rolling of the rooms I got in Quest 2 would have helped me do Quest 1 faster. However, and my mapping skills were such that I ended up on 3 pieces of paper. The final room I got to through random rolls was a forge, and it had the last 2 weapons that I needed to complete my quest, and that is where I am right now with the character. Between quests, what you can do is you can purchase back health points, which I have done. You can repair weapons. These pips here indicate weapons damage to the weapon, and the cost is indicated to repair each pip when you get the weapon. So you know, for example, if I'm going to spend money to repair my shield, which I definitely would because I had it damaged up to almost being useless, each pip repaired is going to cost me 20 gold points, and then I will restore my shield to its full capacity. You can buy back your own health points, which is something that I have also done, and you can additionally sell items to get more gold if you want to spend more gold. There is a very valuable table, the essential items needed for adventuring. You can see the value or the cost of them here, and you can see, you disregard here the d100 roll because we're going shopping here. So I started out with 1,300 gold, and then I restored my health. I did some training of a basic characteristic for 200 gold. I repaired that shield, and some other things. I have 817 gold left. I think for the items, I'm allowed to buy up to 21 items here. What I'm going to be focusing on here is a potion of lesser healing that will allow me to restore some health points in the middle of a quest, as opposed to at the end. And I think I'm also going to get something that will give me an additional damage for a damage dice roll. It only costs 35 gold. And I was also thinking I might get this one lesser dodge to add something to defense before the monster rolls for its damage dice, because if I'm encountering something really big, I want to be able to get out of the way. I am going to be moving on in my quests. The quests themselves are also on a d100 table, and it is suggested that you go through the basic quests, the 5 basic quests first to basically level up and get more things, but I'm pretty happy with the weapons that I got. I got a lot of extra armor already, and so I am going to take my chances after I do this purchasing and roll on the quest table just to see what it would be. Well, actually, I will show you what it is here going to be, knowing what I'm already going to be spending the rest of my money buying. So you would be doing your d100 roll, and I rolled a 22. So my quest here would be to rescue the villagers. Several villagers have been taken by monsters and are being tortured to death. I must set them free. I have to kill 5 monsters with an H after their name on the encounter table to rescue all the visitors. This is the encounter modifier we mentioned here is a minus 20, meaning it is going to step down rolls to give me potentially lesser monsters. I will get 350 gold to do it, and if I have to abandon the quest, I need to forfeit half of all my gold, so that's pretty costly. So that is the quest I will be doing when I am now up to full strength on my health, and I have fixed up my own armor as I want it. You can see here, I'm pretty well armored, and I'm ready to go. For sending a single adventurer into the dungeon and making your way through, this reminds me a lot of Pocket Dungeon, which is a game I made a video on a while ago that I also love. That's also a free print-to-play game. I can't compare this to 4 Against Darkness because I have not played that game, but obviously based on the title alone, you can tell that it's different because here you are committing to just one guy, and Thor Thronesucker is going to make his way now to try to rescue the villagers and continuing on, leveling up, getting more stuff, selling more stuff, and delving further into the dungeon.